Welcome to another JournalNow.com high school football video. My name is Joe Serrera, and we are joined this week by Reagan Raiders head coach Josh McGee, who's got a big game this week at East Forsyth in the Central Piedmont 4A Conference. Coach McGee, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You've got a lot of players on your team, a number of them more than maybe any other team in the area that are heading to college to play football, but they stuck around for this spring season. And I know every player, every kid's situation is different, but how much has that meant to your team, and what does it say about those kids that stuck it out?
I think all of those guys stuck around for different reasons, but hopefully it's a representation of our culture. I think our kids enjoy being around, and it's meant a lot to our guys. I think when our younger guys can see players within our program, they have the opportunities to go play at the next level. I think it provides encouragement to the young guys. Certainly provides leadership to our program, and the experience that they have has been invaluable.
You're off to a pretty good start, 1-1 in the conference, 2-2 overall, and got obviously a big game coming up Friday night. What have you learned about the team so far in the 4 games you played?
It's been a process. I think it's been a process for every team, to be honest with you. I think each week we learn a little bit more of who we are and what we do well. I think we learn what we don't do well. We're 16 points away from being 4-0 at this point. Both
right.
of the 2 teams that we've lost to are both 4-0. Our league is extremely tough. Each week we've gotten better, and I think that's what you want to see in this shortened, modified season. We've had some young guys step up in some big situations, and I think as we continue to go through these next 3 weeks, you want to stay on that trajectory of going in the right direction. And we've had great practices every day, and so we're looking forward to the new challenge.
What are some of the areas that you want to see improvement from your Raiders in, some areas you want to address?
I think offensively, being more consistent. We started off against Mount Tabor and we were really bad. There's no other way to put it offensively.
They do that to a lot of teams. They did that to Dudley last Friday night.
And again, not to take anything away from Mount Tabor High School.
Right.
They outstanding football team. But that night was on the Reagan Raiders offensive unit. And it's, we've grown from that night. So just being more consistent. I think after that week, we moved Bryson Canty to full-time running back. Mm-hmm. And if Bryson Canty is the full-time running back week 1, who knows what happens.
Right.
But since then, he's been on this tear. And, so we've just been more consistent, eliminating some silly penalties. We've snapped the ball over the quarterback's head a few times, which is, you get some momentum moving forward, and then you're sacking in 25 and not a lot of play calls in that situation. Defensively, it's just tackling, fundamentals. This past week we played a really good Davie County team. And obviously when you talk about Davie County, the first thing that comes out of your mouth is Tate Kearney.
Right.
And I don't know if people ask me, how do you stop them? I'm not real sure how you do that. Other than it's tackling. Mm-hmm. And so just, again, being more consistent on both sides of the ball. We preach little things every week. Our special teams, we feel like it gets better every week. Mm-hmm. We have a new kicker in Rocco Gelati who got him off the soccer team. I feel like he continues to grow. So just little things that I think are preventing us from being, a great team. Mm-hmm. And that's something that just comes with time.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Bryson. Who's probably a receiver at the next level when he gets to college, but how many different ways can you get him involved in your offense, in maybe special teams and everything else? He's such a dynamic player.
Yeah, I told somebody the other day, I've been fortunate enough to coach a bunch of really good players. I don't know if I've ever coached a kid like this that can do the things that he can do and absolutely dominate at those things. He's leading our team in receptions. He's leading our team in yards. He's leading our team in carries and rushing yards, touchdowns. When he runs the ball, it's just different. It's hard to explain. It's like watching an old school Walter Payton, Eric Dickerson kind of guy that he's 6'3", 198 pounds with 4.4 speed. Mm-hmm. But he's just so dominant. And when he throw the ball in the air, we had a staff meeting the other day, and we're talking about, more and more teams are going to start playing 2 over top of him just to prevent big plays. And my response was that, that's okay. I don't know if I've ever had a guy that you just feel like can't be stopped. This past week, unfortunately, first play of the third quarter, he goes 80 yards for a touchdown, and then he missed the entire third quarter with cramping. And when that happened, it was, you saw the impact that it had on us as an offense. We kind of went through the entire third quarter. We were almost sleepwalking, and then he comes back in the fourth quarter and gets us back going. But a special player, he's going to Columbia in the Ivy League, and I think that kind of shows what kind of student he is as well.
Don't you have another young man up there at Columbia?
Yeah, we do. The last guy we had was really special too. So I think Gabriel being there is a huge reason to why he wanted to be a part of Columbia. And, again, to be a student in the Ivy League and what that presents to you, big picture wise, we're excited about him and his future.
Yeah, I mean, Bryson is taller, but the guy I'm reminded of a little bit, and this may be reaching a little bit, but who was a receiver until like the last game of his college football, or one of the last games of his college football career. It's a guy who's in the NFL, played at West Virginia, Tavon Austin, where he was a great receiver and a great kick returner. And West Virginia puts him in at running back against Oklahoma in like his regular season game, and he runs for 350 yards. And
that's a great example in
so many different ways. Yeah.
Again, you go back to week 1 against Mount Tabor, and we sat in that staff meeting that Sunday after the loss, and you say, okay, and Coach Purvis, our wide receivers coach, it was actually his idea. We said, who has to touch the ball the most? And it was him. And there's only one way that you can ensure that he touches the ball the most, and it was putting him at running back. And it's been, I tell you, offensively, we've been a completely different unit with him back there. And, even John Gillette, John Gillette is a different type of back. But by having Bryson back there, it's opened up our passing game a little bit more. And, it's just been a great – it's fun as a coach to see your unit evolve and grow. And, Bryson's obviously a big part of that.
What have you seen on the defensive side of the ball? Who are some of the players that folks should be watching for over there?
I've been really pleased with our defense. Unfortunately, we gave up 49 this past week. We'd given up 53 in the previous 3 weeks combined. So we've played really good defense, and Coach Burton and our defensive staff do an outstanding job of preparing those guys. And again, unfortunately, just didn't put it together this past week. Our defensive line is really good this year. It was a group that we were kind of didn't know what we would get out of them, but we've got a sophomore defensive end that we think is extremely special. That's going to play on Saturday one day at a high level. And his name is Samaj Turner, and he's 6'3", 235 pounds in the 10th grade. The motor never stops. Jamel Craig Blakely, a deep tackle for us. That's just an unbelievable player. Our inside linebackers, Gavin Brandon is a returning all-conference player for us. But I think the one that's playing really well right now is Noah Haynes, who's a junior. And Noah's kind of burst onto the scene this season and had a great spring season. In our secondary, we're blessed to have some athletes that can run around and play. Chris Joins playing free safety for us has been a huge blessing. And so defensively, we're just consistent. Our guys play hard, and I think that setback of giving up 49 has re-energized those guys and refocused them. And, hopefully we can get it back on track.
You mentioned your conference before, the high school huddle football radio show we've done over the years. We started a few years ago jokingly calling it the Conference of Death because there's no easy games. I mean, it's such a rugged league. And then this year it gets tougher because with the smaller playoffs, there's only one automatic spot from that conference. I mean, how tough is this conference this year?
Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about it every year. You said it best. There are no off weeks. Everybody's playing really well. Not only are there great players, they're great coaching staffs. I like it that way, to be honest with you. I enjoy waking up Saturday after a game knowing that whether you win or lose, you have to erase it really fast and move on to the next one, because the next one is very dangerous. Starting with this week, it's anytime you get a chance to play the 2-time defending state champs, you're going to have to bring your A game.
You mentioned the East Forsyth Eagles. What do you see on film as you look at them? I know they had a lot of guys who were FBS players who left after the fall to enroll early because they were getting pulled that way by their colleges, and they're very young this year. But what do you see from them on film?
Oh, first of all, like you said, we're very thankful those guys decided to go on to college. It certainly made life a little
that
bit
made
easier.
Coach Willard very happy.
Oh man, it did.
I mean,
did the rest of us a favor.
Don't get me wrong. He encouraged those guys. He's all.
Oh, absolutely. You have to.
You are those kids, and I don't mean it like that, but he
those
loved
guys
to play in the fall with those guys.
Yeah, great players, and except for the night that you had to compete against those guys, right. You enjoy watching all of them play. But like you said, very young. But every game that we see, you see a football team that gets better. Mm-hmm. Each week, they if they made mistakes the week before, they're not making those same mistakes again, which is, I think, as a coach, what you want to see. And, obviously a very well-coached team. They play extremely hard. That's one thing that I don't think you'll ever see. You'll never see an East Forsyth team not play hard. Mm-hmm. But you see, again, you see some young players. I think their sophomore running back had 300 yards rushing last week against R.J. Reynolds. So you see a team that's very dangerous. With the confidence that's growing each week, and you have to play well.
What do you guys have to do against them on Friday night? What are the keys for the Raiders?
Defensively, it goes back to what we talked about, those little things we're going to have to tackle. You're going to get a certain set of things against East Forsyth that they've built their foundation on for a long time, and they're going to run the football. And if you're going to run the football, you better be able to tackle. And so we've got to play really well there. Offensively, I think we've got to get in a rhythm and stay in the rhythm. I think we need to try to find a way to gain momentum early, keep the momentum. Obviously, like any game, don't turn the ball over. If we do those things, I really do like our chances. I like our guys. I like the way they practice and prepare each day. But you cannot make mistakes against an East Forsyth team, and that's going to be our focus, is kind of controlling what we can control and play as hard as we possibly can. We always talk about playing two ways. We're going to play with relentless effort, and then we have to play for 48 minutes or as long as it takes to finish. And, if we do those things, we always have a shot.
Sounds good. We thank you for your time and wish you nothing but luck on Friday night over in Kernersville and for the rest of your season. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.